as Todd's wife, there are certain situations where if we hit a roadblock, I would just ignore it, get over it, and move on. And as his business partner, that's not possible. I cannot be the same person as his wife as I am as his business partner, because if I ignore it, the business suffers and then our staff suffers. And there were so many people riding on that.
How's it going, world? My name is Todd. I'm here with my wife and business partner, Jen.
Hello.
Hi. Right on cue with that little spinny move there.
Good.
That was pretty good. So today we are talking about running a business together.
Fun.
As a married couple.
Yeah.
Who has 3 kids and a business together. So we're at our salon. If anybody is watching, you'll notice the background is a little different. We're at our salon. We're actually stripped down our break room and we're set up.
Yeah.
Here we are. Should be fun. So before we start, this episode is brought to you by our friends at Ping Pong Design and Marketing.
Ping pong.
Do you want to love your website again, or do you just need a website? If you're looking for more clients to fill your chairs or your whatever you're into, Ping Pong wants to make the internet a better place with websites and marketing campaigns that inform and convert. That's their mission. Ping Pong's also offering our audience a special discount on any website or digital marketing campaign. So visit the show notes. You can reach out to Chris and talk more. Ping Pong is also not just for hair pros, but for the entire health, beauty, and fitness industries.
Sweet.
Yeah. Check out our website too. I'll link it.
Yeah.
They did that for us and it's amazing. Mm-hmm. All right. So running a business together, this is how this show came to be. So I ran a survey through our pro email list and I asked people what they were interested in seeing for content. And one of the responses that we got was behind the scenes and how we do things at Hello.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So then we were like, okay, behind the scenes, what could be more behind the scenes than the 2 owners that live together, married, 3 children. So I figured we could touch on that stuff today. So originally I had the behind the scenes. I wasn't sure what to do. Like, what do you do with that? You want like behind the scenes at the salon, like stories, or do you want like pictures of what we're up to?
I liked the concept because I think, I have lots of stories behind the chair and it was fun. And for me, I feel like as a salon owner, as a stylist, as a leader to our staff, there's just a certain way I want to put myself out there and a certain way that I conduct myself as a business owner and leader in that way, where the podcast to me felt like behind the scenes and this is who we are just in real life. And I needed that in my life.
Right.
Because people could listen or not. Where in the salon, I have to be respectful. I feel of lots of different points of views and all kinds of stuff.
Oh, of course. Yeah. So I thought about it and I was like, well, let's just do a podcast episode behind the scenes and we'll talk about what it looks like.
And that just sounded cool.
So here's a pro tip for you. If you're not looking to your audience or your clients for what they want, you're missing out.
Agreed.
On a huge chunk of easy content wins. So we do that quite often. We'll just reach out to people and say, what do you want to see? What do you want to hear? What do you want to learn about?
And then we'll chat about it.
And then we talk about it. So I think I've told the story before, but when I had my gym, Instagram was around, but it was brand new. So I wasn't on Instagram right away.
Yeah.
But I was on Facebook and I was following a guy. He lived down in Brooklyn. He had a huge brand. And people would go to like the CrossFit regionals and all that fun stuff. And he took time out of his day to spend with people chatting about business or whatever. And so one day I was like, I'd love to jump on a call with you someday and just pick your brain. And he was like, I've got 30 minutes free in like 2 hours. Call this number. And I was like, shit, okay. So I called him and the biggest takeaway I had from that conversation was he said, I've never done anything that someone hasn't asked me to do.
I love that.
So nothing's forced. You're not trying to, he wasn't trying to come up with a product and then
sell it. Yeah.
It was already sold.
That's an aha moment right there. And if someone's asking you, it's just like if someone comes to us with a hair question or wants a podcast about something, then that means other people are interested in it too.
Correct.
It's just how
if one person reaches out, then obviously there's more.
Yeah. So people want to hear about, I guess, what it's like with Todd and I running a business. So here we are.
For some reason.
I remember when I first told my clients that we were going to do this together, and they were like, "Oh, I could never work with my husband." I was like, "Oh, okay, cool for you." I don't know.
Sad.
Not everybody, I guess, wants to be around their partner 24 hours a day, and there's definitely real struggles that come along with that. And you have to have, to me, a really strong foundational base in order to do things the way we do them.
Right. So,
P.S. There are days that we want to kill each other. That's just normal.
let's chat. Yeah, no comment. Yeah, agree. Let's chat about what our relationship looks like at work.
Okay.
And then we'll run through that, and then we'll dive a little bit into our personal life after.
Sure. I'm in.
So, what sort of problems or challenges do partners face? And this isn't a married couple partner. It could be anybody, right?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot going on.
Right, just a partnership.
With
right?
a partnership, correct. Do you want to start?
Sure. I feel that it's knowing what your roles and tasks are, what is expected of each partner in that business, and that you're checking in to make sure those roles stay the same, or do we need to reevaluate them?
Cool. That's definitely a good one. I think the number one thing for me with a partnership, any partnership, would be the decision making.
Right.
For the business.
That's where it was great when we came up with our mission and our core values, because that really did help, where we didn't have to micromanage each other, that we knew we still check in with each other, don't get me wrong, but we knew if we were making a day-to-day decision, sort of what that was based on, and that we were both looking for the same thing.
Right. So the direction of the business, obviously, you touched on that. So Jen and I, we are 50-50 partners. Mm-hmm. So how does that work? So what we did, how do you decide on disagreements? That's probably the first question I would have.
Right.
If I had a business without a partner. If you're both 50-50, who gets to decide? What if there's a tie? What if it's 1-1? Like who wins? I do apologize too, because we're in a different setup. So if you're hearing anything, like I heard it is a little echoey. I'll try to clean that up after. And I think the little refrigerator just kicked on, and that's what the mics are picking up, because there's a little hum. So I apologize. I'm not a sound engineer, but I'll do my best. Mm-hmm. Fix it in post. That's some industry shit I hear. I'll just fix it in post.
Okay.
So here's what we do in our business. We defer to our roles and tasks list, which you brought up already. So we laid out clear roles and what those roles, what tasks come along with those roles. And we sort of split them up. And it was as easy, actually, when we did this. We sat down and we just wrote a list of everything so if you were doing this with your partner, here's what I would do. I would write down a list of everything that you do. Then I would write down a list, without talking to them, I would write down a list of everything they do. I would have them do that same thing and then come together, because there are a whole lot of things that you do that they're not going to know about, because it's just day-to-day stuff. And the same goes for them. There's probably there might be one partner doing way more. This will help you figure that out, and then you can address it.
It also helps to show each partner what you think they're doing, right? Because a lot of times they might be, it's clear as day as what I'm doing. And then when you have your list, you're like, oh, you're not seeing anything that I'm doing, or you think I'm doing more than I'm doing. Like it really helps bring that communication to a clear path that then you have your roles and tasks laid out.
Right. And it can't be, you shouldn't, you can do what you want if you're listening. I'm not here to tell you what to do. But it can't be, well, it's clear what I'm doing. You're going to run into all sorts of fucking problems with that model.
For sure.
Like, oh, Jen just knows what I'm doing when I'm here. And when I'm working at home, she just knows what I'm doing. Well, she doesn't. She's busy doing her shit.
Yeah.
How the hell would she know what I'm up to?
And I could guess, but when you set it in writing, then it's very understood what's happening, whether you're there or not.
So we laid these out, and I'll run through a couple. I don't have the actual list in front of me. I just did a few for each of us.
And that would get boring.
Yeah, you do yours, and it'll be exciting for you, but your list would not be exciting for me. I don't give a shit what you do. And you probably don't care what I do, but here's the deal. So my list, I I am the first contact with potential new employees. I am the user experience or client experience, marketing, website, podcast, social media, salon maintenance, something breaks. I try to fix it before we call somebody, that sort of stuff.
Lately, I've been doing some of that.
Yeah, that's the thing. So these aren't always black and white, because if someone can get to it,
I'm in the salon more than Todd
quicker,
is too, so that's why.
Yeah. So let's list off some of Jen's. Jen would do our ordering, product line decisions, all that stuff falls into her. Technical education, finances, payroll, all that stuff. Yeah. The accounting. Now, when you have these lists, this doesn't mean don't know this shit on the other person's list.
Right.
Like, I could come in and put together an order for the salon. Mm-hmm. But it's going to be way more efficient if Jen just does it.
Yeah, right.
So you still should know what you're doing, or what the other person's doing, and you still need to have like a basic understanding of it. It doesn't need to be crazy or anything, but Jen knows how to make a post on social media.
Right, I can do it.
You probably couldn't do anything with the podcast, but with the website, if we needed to change, she knows who to contact, or like that stuff, right? It's just that it's quicker when you have somebody that's in charge. That
keeps it aligned, for sure.
What else? Do you have anything that I missed on your list? A lot of stuff. I didn't know if you had any good examples.
I think those are great. It just, like you said, there are some of those things, like we could flip flop, but it's going to take me longer to do certain things that Todd can do better. So why not just be clear as to like what's the easiest? Because if it's easy, I mean, it's more fun. You can just do it quickly. And then sort of, what makes you happy in running a business? Like, I enjoy dealing with the products and that kind of stuff. It's fun for me. I like doing the orders. Like, it's just a part of leading a team that I enjoy doing, or leading a business. And
I don't do color, so I would have to go pull we have software and reports and stuff, but you
sometimes still need the visual with that.
You could just look at the wall and know
right
what you need. And that just comes from experience.
Yeah.
So again, like I said, if you were laying these out with your business partner, have that list, but understand it. So the first, I think, thing that list shows you is just an appreciation for what is getting done by each person.
I also think it helps with each partner. You don't feel as salty. Like, you're not like, I do this and you do nothing. It's just a more positive way to come together on a conversation, especially if you've been running.
That's why I strongly suggest that people do this.
It's important.
So it doesn't happen.
Because otherwise, you get salty, or things come up and you don't know how to handle it. And rather than go, I'm doing everything, you're doing nothing, it's like, let's run through this exercise so we can be clear that it's fair if you're 50-50, or that it should be heavier on one because you're 60-40, however that looks. But it makes it to be an easier conversation with your partner in business to lay that out in a very simple way that's not such a negative approach.
Exactly. So let's talk about, you want to talk about our color line? So that was a decision that we made.
Sure.
And we made the decision. So Jen takes care of she gets the final decision on like product lines in the salon. I was still involved in that process. Mm-hmm. And as partners, you should be, unless like one partner just doesn't give a shit about a certain aspect, and then it's beneficial probably to ignore that. But let's talk about what that looked like, just because it was a cool story. So we had one brand.
Yeah.
And we were using them. It was one of the big brand companies, and all of our color came from them. And then we were introduced to a new product line. And then you talk. How did that come about? Or what steps? We went to the distributor for a tour.
Yeah, I didn't realize. So I was feeling very generic in the brands and the color line we were using. It was. I didn't feel creative. It was a move I had made, thinking it would do the opposite. I also was looking for having a new business. I understood that we were probably going to be bringing in a lot of raw talent coming out of school. So this one company, their line is so simple to use. It's recognized by a lot of younger people in the industry as being cool, and just thought this way, when they get in here, it'll be really easy to transition them into teaching them in the line.
That was the original line?
That was the original line.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So as I was progressing through having Hello and using our core values and missions, I realized this brand really wasn't matching up, because part of what's important to me is also protecting our staff. So we are around, if you're a colorist, a lot of chemicals day in and day out. So I really wanted to find a color line that had better ingredients in it, but
it's cleaner.
It was cleaner, and it needed to perform, because I had been with a different brand before that was a clean beauty product, and it didn't perform well. So having kind of looking for that color line, I fell into, what are we doing with our retail products, and why aren't we using back bar products that stand in that same scenario with this clean beauty? So that brought some clean beauty products in, but again, having a staff that's like, look, I felt like they're just younger. They're looking for cool stuff. They want fun. They want good smelling stuff. And some of this clean beauty products were not delivering there. Their performance was great, but they were boring to our staff. So that put me on a hunt. I felt I needed quickly to find a fun brand that hit the clean beauty, hit the performance, and that my staff could be like, this is cool. And that's how we found Evo. If you have never read their packaging, it's hilarious. They're all about saving ordinary humans from themselves.
They use a lot of humor.
Yeah, they're really funny. It was clean looking, and they basically are like, don't take yourself so seriously. Just have fun. So we brought in some of that back bar, and the staff went nuts. They loved the smell. They loved the performance. They loved the hilariousness. They sent bubbles in one of the packages. So now they're back to like having fun, and they're like, whoa, clean beauty can be fun. It doesn't have to be just boring. So we were at the think tank.
There is a lot of boring shit.
So yeah, and
terrible.
I've been doing this a long time. I'm like, I want to have fun. Like, I want to have fun. So we went out.
Decision making process. Get to that part, because that's what the podcast is about.
Sorry.
I'm joking too.
Okay.
Just so our listeners aren't like, whoa, what a jerk.
I came into that they were launching a color line, and that's when I was like, this could be cool. So I had said to Todd, there was a training coming at the end of the year. I thought if I hit up that training, I could dive my hands into this product and see if it performed. That's where I came home, and I'm like, Todd, if we could get this color line in our salon and get our staff on board, we would have my dream salon. Like, that would be amazing to me. And he was like, we'll just do it, because it made sense, because it
made sense. So
it
there
hit
wasn't
the values, it hit the mission, and it was like, and it was cool. Like, that wasn't probably part of our core values, but it started to move in a direction of like, I want it to feel cool, like what I'm doing.
So one of our core values is pride.
Yeah, true. Okay. So he's like, so first gen, dial it the fuck back, because you get way too excited too fast.
True story. You have to balance your partner. There's one of you partners out there. There's a fucking spaz, and then there's the chill vibe one.
I'm the spaz.
If you can't guess, which one of us?
So he's like, I know you're gonna want to like throw this all up on the staff, and you need to take a minute and breathe and gather yourself.
Well, I'm also a systems guy, so it's like we've got to bring this in methodically. We can't just
and professionally,
dump a box of color out and.
So that really kind of helped me focus on how am I going to relay this information to our staff, and then which led
to you becoming an educator for
the brand.
Evo, for the brand.
Yeah.
So now who better to talk about it than you?
Yeah.
And we have that in salon.
So
which is something that I obviously agreed with right away, because I was like, okay, we can have an in-house educator for the brand, and our staff will never have to worry.
Yeah. It was very cool.
So they felt supported.
And here we are.
So I just thought that was a cool story. So something that we kept getting back on was core values. You have to have that with your business partner to have that list of core values or principles or whatever you want to call them. I don't care. But there have been some decisions that we've made or haven't made because they just didn't fit our values.
And here's also why that's important. I came back from that training. I was flying home that night like, I want to have this. And I believe if we didn't have the core values and the mission and how we lay things out, I would have been like, oh my God, is my partner going to say yes to this? Like, can I do this? Instead, I knew going into that training, it aligned. It just was, did I want to have it? And so there wasn't this, like, I didn't have to sell it to my partner. Like,
No.
Please be on the same
fit.
page with me. We already knew the steps I was taking was the same page. It just was, for me as a colorist, does it perform? And that's important because otherwise it's just gonna create a weird relationship if you start even trying out things that don't align.
Yeah, I don't want to name anything, but there were some companies that like they claim certain things and it kind of aligned, and then we brought them in and played around with them, and we were like, this does not align.
Yeah, they
gotta get out.
Told half the truth.
Yeah. And integrity is one of our core principles.
Yeah.
So we were like, see you later.
The other part,
not a huge deal. It just, the reason we're talking about this stuff is because if you have it laid out, if you have your roles and tasks and you have your core values laid out, principles, whatever, it makes it really easy to communicate.
Yes.
And as business partners, that is one of the biggest hurdles, I would say, for people is communication.
Yeah. And it makes it more effective, right? We can efficient.
Yes.
We can get through things quicker. Like this doesn't align.
Yeah.
Let's talk.
Speed. Sometimes you have to be able to pivot, especially when you have, I don't know, a global pandemic.
Yeah.
You got to be able to make decisions, and you got to be able to be nimble and quick in those decisions. So having both partners on the same page
is huge.
So do that if you're not doing that already. Anything else for at work?
I think that's the big one.
Yeah.
You do that and it pretty much everything else will align. And then just reevaluate those often because they will change. They should be forever changing.
Right. What, your core values?
No, your roles and tasks might change as you go along. And your core values might too. As your business grows, you may need to
you might change
evaluate
something.
those too. It's just a conversation to be had.
Yeah. So our core values, like a lot of things, fit into other categories, and we simplified them down. So like I believe the ability to maneuver in business is huge, and you should have that. Yes. But innovation is one of our core values, and I thought it sort of fit into that category. Just like honesty, I believe, was one of the first words we wrote down. Mm-hmm. Well, we have integrity, and that sort of, like, you can't have honesty if you don't have integrity.
Absolutely.
If you're lying, there's no integrity. Mm-hmm. So some of our core values, we made lists, and then we sort of would group things together, and yes, they developed over a little bit of time. All right, should we get to the juicy stuff?
Sure.
So the behind the scenes, how the fuck does this look at home or outside of the business? So
really rough in the beginning.
Life outside of work, as business partners, as parents, and as a couple. Mm-hmm. And how do we do those things and elevate all three of them? So you don't want to be a bad parent now because you've got to work together and you're your husband and wife. You don't want a divorce. Right. I mean, maybe you do. We don't. So you don't want to focus on that. Yeah. You know, and
the balance is
you can't leave your business to suffer if you're having an off day. Yeah. So we had to get our shit together. And this is a new world
for Todd and I. So this had
our
been
first
parents.
Business together.
No, but the other business that we were in together, the gym, I wasn't there all the time. Like it still was different.
That's what I said. Yeah. This is our first business together.
Oh, together. Sorry.
So like at Jen's last salon. Sorry. Just to backpedal, I went there. I think I was there for like 3 months. Yeah. And I quit. Mm-hmm. Then I quit. There's a little behind the scenes fun fact for you.
And I quit shortly after.
I quit my wife's business.
And I quit my own business, which a lot of people don't think you can do, but you can.
Yeah, reach out for that one to your lawyer.
If you don't, if you're not happy, you can make a change. I've done it, and I can help you through that.
You can reach out to us, but I'm going to tell you to get a lawyer.
I would second that.
So I had a gym while she had her salon, and she helped me with certain things, but it was like advice stuff. Yeah. Not necessarily like never the day to day. You weren't writing programming or cleaning the gym or anything like that. All that stuff I was responsible for, or someone else was responsible for. So where do we want to start?
Some of the challenges I faced was Todd and I in the beginning with the business would want to talk about the business at different times. So Todd, I felt, would wake up in the morning.
This is a huge one, folks. Grab your notebook and take notes. Also hit subscribe while you're thinking about it.
He would be excited to be like, I have all these ideas. And it's not that he can't do the kids in the morning, but they want their mom and they'd prefer me to help them get ready, get dressed, brush their teeth. So he'd be out there trying to talk to me while I'm like getting the kids dressed or the backpacks ready or whatever. And I'm just looking at him and I'm like, I can't do this right now. And before I knew it, I was getting stressed. I'm getting frustrated with the kids. I'm frustrated with him. And he's looking at me like, what is the problem? Like he was just excited. I have all these other ideas.
Because
and I'm like,
I would wake up with 700,000
and
ideas.
I'm like, I finally was like, I have my mom hat on and I can't do both. I cannot do the business and the mom. And I got to get our two oldest on the bus. Then I can come back in and I can give you some attention. Now we still have a third kid. So that kid still might need something first. And there's a point where the kids needed to come first. And then I can lay out with you what we need to discuss. And that took me a good amount of time to even vocalize. Because I'm like, I don't even know why I'm feeling this way.
And I missed it completely because I was just excited to like...
And it was just making me stressed out.
A big goal of mine was to work with my wife. It was one of my goals. So I had mentioned earlier, I had a gym, I closed it down and I was like, what's next? Then I started working at her salon and I was like, what's next? And then we already talked about how we opened this place and came up with that. So we don't need to get into it, but I went to barbering school and we got this space and renovated it. And I figured out how to be a general contractor. And I did all these things with the goal of working with you.
Right.
So I was excited and I didn't know. And Jen talks about the morning, but I would be throwing ideas. It would she would be falling asleep. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, are you awake? I have an idea for the paint. Or I found this, I found this flooring. You have to see it. Well, it'll be there in the morning. So I think what Jen's hinting at is you need boundaries.
Big time.
And write them down.
Big time.
Write them down. So we set boundaries as far as our time with our kids, our family time is our family time. I'm not saying you can't check your phone. I'm not saying
and it trickles in time to time, but then we kind of also
the lines blur and that is fucking fine. That's okay.
There's nothing you can do about it.
And yours is going to look different than how ours looks. And
then we kind of created a way to sort of say I'm done. So sometimes you're talking, one person's done and it doesn't matter, but there be times at home where I'm tapping out and I'm just like, okay, I'm over this. But I'm not saying it in a way that Todd understood, I'm done talking about it. And then before I knew it, I'm getting irritated again. And he's like, I don't understand. And I'm like, I was done with that 10 minutes ago. So then we had to create a way to kind of be like, let's wrap up this conversation because I have no more brain power.
So you know what we do now? We say, I don't want to talk about this anymore.
And we take it seriously.
Can we talk about it tomorrow? Or can we talk about it after lunch or whatever? And that's a big part of it too for us is setting a time.
Yeah.
Just saying, hey, I don't want to talk about this to your business partner is not a good practice. I don't recommend doing that with your wife or husband either. Just always ignoring shit is not a good plan. So we'll say hey, we have time on Monday. Why don't we carve out 2 hours and talk about this?
Yeah. And some stuff you can't wait on, but some stuff you can.
Yeah.
And
stuff
when
comes up,
you're just I'm burnt from this week, Monday would work better for this conversation. And honestly, it made us better parents, husband and wife, everything. Our communication now is fucking spot on.
I would say
it's pretty amazing.
I would say following strict core values. Something just turned off because the sound got clear. Following strict principles at our business and being detailed with it, writing, we took the time to write out the ideas for our core values, our roles and tasks. I wrote those in a notebook. Doing that, you get that benefit also, like you just said, at home, because your communication, our core values as people aren't really different than they are for business. Right. I'm not trying to reinvent my house every year. So I don't know if innovation would be a big thing, but education, growth, pride, courage, those are things, integrity. Those are all things that when you start doing that for part of your day, it's just really easy to follow through with it. And the same with the kids. Mm-hmm. We do the same, we follow sort of the same things.
One of the roads I hit for me personally was
Roads or roadblocks?
Roadblocks.
Road bump or a block?
It was a block. I realized... You couldn't go over it? You
had to go a different route?
No, I had to change my whole fucking way.
You didn't check Waze?
Yeah, I didn't check ways. I realized as Todd's wife, and I'm just being completely honest because I want people to resonate with how important these things are. As Todd's wife, there are certain situations where if we hit a roadblock, I would just ignore it, get over it, and move on. And as his business partner, that's not possible. I cannot be the same person as his wife as I am as his business partner, because if I ignore it, the business suffers and then our staff suffers. And there was so many people riding on that. So one of the things that was really cool was as I grew as Todd's business partner and learned how to communicate things that didn't work for me, things I may not have liked the way Todd was doing. Like, that's not easy to tell your partner and now your husband. But then it trickled into our personal life where I was like, hey, you know, I need more of this from you, or hey, this would work better for me in our relationship. And I don't think I ever would have got to that point as your wife without having the business. And it was not easy. It was fucking hard. I had to look internally, like, why do I feel like this right now? Why am I getting mad about this? And then I had to say these things to my husband that I had never really said before. Like, I don't like when you do this, or I don't like how this makes me feel, or hey, I'm not really good at that, and I thought I was, or whatever. Like the other day, I was like, let's do the podcast at the salon. I'm like, but you know me, I just want to tell you to do it, and I'll just show up and do the podcast. And I had never said that out loud before. She
didn't take into account all the echo that we were going to have and all the lighting.
Just put it on your plate, and then I'm just going to show up and smile.
It's fine. And I was like, okay, let's make it happen. And if the episode doesn't come out good, we'll figure it out. But like, you wanted to try it, so yeah, here we are. We can try it, and we're pretty mobile with our setup, so.
But it's just been a hard road, but that's because it's growth. And when you're uncomfortable and things are difficult, you're growing. And not just as your partner at work, but as your partner at home. And as a mom, I got better. Like I need you to be more like this. Like, I don't want to hurt his feelings either. And so I'm always worried about all of those things that I cannot control, and have started to get better at. I still have to talk to Todd openly and honestly, and it's his to react how he needs to, and then we move on from there. And that was a huge growing part for me. I can't control
right
how you react to stuff.
Of course not. So I look at it as, what's worse? If you have, now I know this show is about our relationship, but for example, you have an employee that never cleans, and now 6 months down the road, you've had it up to here. You're done. So you've got to let that person go. Or what did you say? Uninvite them?
Oh, yeah. I think uninvite, you're off the team.
You're off the team.
I'm letting you go from our team.
We're making a trade.
Yeah.
So what's worse? Just being honest with that person up front and being blunt and saying, this is what I expect? Or never giving them the opportunity and having to fire them in 6 months?
I say that all the time about, even relationships. Like,
boom, like
you never broke up because someone didn't take out the fucking trash. You broke up because all the things that led up to him not taking out that trash the day is what like put you over the edge. So I know you have to address things often and honestly, because this way you don't get to the point where you're just like, I quit. I don't want to do this anymore.
I will say I agree with everything. And our communication has been, I think, even over the past few months, it's even taken another step further. And I think our relationship outside of work might even be better than it's ever been.
Agreed.
And I'm not just saying that.
Well, having the business made us have to work on it all the time.
Yes, it calls you the fuck out real quick.
Eventually, that's either going to go wicked good or really bad. And it's just where you go. And I'm not saying it was easy, because it was a lot of work.
No, there's work there, but
there were moments of it, arguments or whatever, just because we're both trying to understand where each one's coming from. And also we still want to make each other happy.
Our arguments, let's talk about that for 10 seconds.
Sure.
It doesn't need to be this big thing, but our arguments too are efficient.
Yeah.
They're very clean. It's almost like a courtroom.
Yeah.
Like we're not talking about arguments like yelling or screaming or throwing anything. That shit's crazy. Get out of that. If that's what's happening to you, like if you're in danger, get out of the fucking relationship. I don't care if it's a marriage or a business partnership. And I know there's crazy shit that happens out there, but go ahead.
This was a cool thing that Todd just brought up to me recently, and that we now practice if we're talking about being at home, is in business or in your relationship, you sometimes do have arguments or we just kind of bicker back and forth, whatever it is. But so what we had to start doing, because now we might be heated about business or something at home, is Todd was like, he read something, you saw a podcast, I don't even know. But basically, your kids will always see you argue or they'll see you disagree.
Yeah,
but they don't
important.
see you apologizing to each other or exchanging kind words after to be like, hey, this, whatever those are. So one of the things we had to implement at our house was, if we're feeling a little heated and we're talking about work, the kids can't tell the difference. But then it's just like apologizing or talking that out. So there's kind words after, so they can understand that it's very normal to not always agree. And it's also very normal after to still love each other and show affection and speak to each other kindly. That was huge for us.
The last thing I want anyone to think is that conflict is not going to occur.
Right.
Because it's coming.
And then it's showing them, now we're teaching them that it's coming, and how do you handle that? How do you react to it? And then what do you do after?
Right.
And that has been really helpful too.
I remember the first few times I was like, this is awkward, but I'm going to go. I don't remember the exact example either, but I went and just said, hey, if I came across the wrong way, I just wanted to take a minute and apologize. Here's what I meant. Mm-hmm. Here's what I said. And I probably shouldn't have said it in that way.
Yeah.
I probably should have said this. And that stuff I feel like is amazing for kids because.
Well, yeah, when they're adults, they're going to learn how to do that too. And how that all works out.
It's not just an argument and then you disappear and apologize.
Right. Later when they're not
night.
there.
Yeah,
right.
No, that's.
So now we have, it's good.
And like I pointed out, our arguments, they don't really get heated very often. It's like, I just keep going back to the courtroom analogy. I don't know why, but it's like Jen will present like her argument and her evidence.
That's true.
And then like I'll present and I'll be like, yes, but it doesn't fit our core values because blah, blah, blah. And I'm a geek.
And there's an eye roll.
And then there's an eye roll. And then it's like, you go from there. But you can even like have better arguments. That all goes towards communication.
It does.
I think everything just comes back to communication and communication. And that's it. What else do we have? Anything?
No, I think that
was some good stuff. Yeah. Maybe we'll do this again and we'll
I think it's good to share because
else.
we're real. We're real people. We have real lives. We have children. We do all these things. And on the surface, there's people like, oh, you guys are just amazing. And I'm like, I think we're amazing. Don't get me wrong.
Not that amazing.
But I also want people to understand there's a real side to it and that there's work that goes into it. And this is how life is. Yeah. And I think it's important to understand that too. So maybe if you're frustrated, you're like, all right, I got this. Oh, I'll just try this. And it's okay to talk about it. Even sometimes if I say something like you just said, like, at least I got off my chest, and it may not have come out the right way, but I got it off my chest, and then I'll get better every time at doing that better. I got to start somewhere though.
It's like doing fucking haircuts.
Yeah. Start at ground zero.
You suck at first.
Get better.
And then you get better because you work on it.
Absolutely.
So with your communication with your business partner, with your spouse, whatever, even if it's just a business partner or just a spouse, work on your communication. If you don't know how, just Google it. I don't know. There's probably communication
Honestly, there's
classes
roles and tasks to everything that you do.
Write them out for your house.
Yeah. However you need to do that.
We
to
go
just
through
start
phases
the conversation.
with that.
Yes.
Like, hey, I'm going to take care of it. Like, we know heading into busy parts of the year, like, I need help with this. I need help with this. Mm-hmm. Like,
we just went over one with cleaning at the house.
Yeah.
Like, we just laid that out differently because we wanted to make it more fair. Like, it's
I was doing
a simple
everything.
thing. Yeah, right. It's a simple thing, but I had to say I need help, and how do we do this?
By doing that, like I'm at home way more than you are, so it just makes sense. Some of the stuff, it's not like hard stuff. It's just that if you didn't communicate that to me, I would forget.
And that was a cool one because we laid that out, and then the kids were like, I can help. What can I do? And I'm like, this is
get
like
jobs.
Get jobs. And they were like, I wouldn't mind doing that. And I would like to help doing this. And I'm like, this is great. Like, we're literally becoming a team, like a family team, you know? That was cool.
Awesome. All right, let's wrap it up. We got lunch.
Yes.
So thank you guys so much for listening. Don't forget to check out Ping Pong Marketing.
Ping Pong.
And Design. Or Design and Marketing. I might have screwed that up backwards. But Ping Pong Design and Marketing, check it out in the show notes. Hit subscribe. Leave us a review. Check out our website.
Reach out if you need help or have any questions.
If you need help,
you can do a coaching call.
We can do a coaching call. We just opened those up recently and started taking on some mentoring clients.
Yep.
So it's been very fun, and we're looking forward to more.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.